Coca-Cola, so does it have cocaine in it?
La principal causa de muerte es la diabetes.
For over a century, the Coca-Cola company has been a master of duality. It is the world's most recognizable brand, a symbol of simple, shared happiness, sold in over 200 countries. It is an economic engine, a massive global employer, and a purveyor of nostalgia. Yet, it is also a corporation whose history is inextricably linked to some of the most significant public health, environmental, and human rights controversies of the modern era. To call the narrative of Coca-Cola a simple lie is to miss the complexity of its power. The company does not operate in a vacuum. It is a reflection of global capitalism, a system that simultaneously creates immense wealth and profound ethical challenges. The illusion of happiness is not merely a distraction. It is the corporate narrative that must constantly be maintained to justify its global reach and its impact. This narrative is a carefully woven tapestry of nostalgia, cultural ubiquity, and relentless marketing, designed to make the consumer feel a personal connection to a vast, impersonal machine. This emotional investment is the company's most valuable asset, allowing it to weather storms that would sink lesser brands. The economic footprint of the Coca-Cola system, which includes thousands of independent bottlers and suppliers, supports millions of livelihoods globally, further complicating any simple moral judgment. This is a story about that narrative, how it was built, how it has been defended, and how the company has navigated the constant tension between its public image and the documented consequences of its operations. We will examine the controversies, but also the counter-arguments, the systemic challenges, and the efforts the company has made to address its critics. The question is not whether Coca-Cola is good or evil, but how a single entity can embody such profound contradictions. We must look beyond the red and white to understand the full, complex picture. The foundation of the Coca-Cola narrative is rooted in a genuine, though ethically dubious, quest for a medical solution. In 1886, John Stith Pemberton, a Civil War veteran struggling with morphine addiction, sought to create a non-alcoholic tonic. His initial creation, a French wine coca leaf infusion, was a product of its time, a patent medicine designed to cure a host of ailments. When Prohibition forced the removal of alcohol, Pemberton created the sugary, carbonated beverage we know today, marketed as a brain tonic and a cure for various afflictions. The first ethical ambiguity of the brand was this medicinal claim. The truth, that the original formula contained cocaine from the coca leaf, is a historical fact that the company spent decades minimizing. At the time, cocaine was a common ingredient in many patent medicines, often touted for its stimulating and mood-elevating properties. Pemberton's claim that the drink was a cure for addiction was a cruel irony, replacing one dependency with another, albeit a more socially acceptable one. The company's subsequent efforts to quietly remove the cocaine while retaining the Coca in the name is a foundational example of its strategy, subtly altering the product while fiercely protecting the brand's mystique and heritage. The early legal battles, such as the 1909 trial under the Pure Food and Drug Act, established a critical precedent: the company's willingness to fight regulatory efforts tooth and nail. While the company eventually reduced the caffeine content and removed the cocaine, the legacy of this era is a powerful one. It demonstrates that from its inception, Coca-Cola's identity was built on a product that was simultaneously a popular refreshment and a source of legal and ethical contention. The initial lie was not a malicious deception, but a reflection of the unregulated, often reckless medical claims common in the late 19th century. As Coca-Cola became a global phenomenon, the health debate shifted from cocaine to sugar. The high consumption of sugary drinks is a well-documented contributor to the global obesity and type 2 diabetes epidemics. A single can of classic Coke contains a significant amount of sugar, a fact that critics argue makes the company directly responsible for a portion of the public health crisis. However, the company argues that obesity is a complex, multifactorial issue involving diet, genetics, and lifestyle, and that singling out sugary drinks oversimplifies the problem. Furthermore, in response to growing public health concerns, Coca-Cola has made significant changes to its product portfolio. The company has invested heavily in low-sugar and no-sugar options, such as Coca-Cola Zero Sugar and Diet Coke, and has expanded its offerings to include water, juices, and other non-carbonated beverages. They have also introduced smaller pack sizes to promote portion control, arguing that they are providing consumers with a range of choices to fit their lifestyles. Despite these efforts, the shadow of past actions remains. The vitamin water lawsuit, filed by the Center for Science in the Public Interest, CSPI, highlighted the tension between marketing and reality. CSPI argued that the product, despite its healthy-sounding name, contained 33 grams of sugar, rendering its health claims deceptive. The legal battle became a public relations disaster when Coca-Cola's lawyers offered the stunning defense that no consumer could reasonably be misled into thinking vitamin water was a healthy beverage. This statement, while legally strategic, was a profound admission of the cynical nature of the marketing, suggesting that the health claims were so obviously exaggerated that no rational person should believe them. The case, which was eventually settled with Coca-Cola agreeing to change its labels, cemented the public perception that the company was willing to use the veneer of health to sell a product that was fundamentally sugar water, undermining the credibility of its later, more genuine efforts to diversify its portfolio. The core problem remains. The massive profit generated by the high sugar products still dwarfs the revenue from healthier alternatives. The most sophisticated strategy employed by Coca-Cola to manage the health narrative was its attempt to influence the scientific debate itself. This strategy was not about denying the existence of obesity, but about reframing the cause. The Global Energy Balance Network (GEBN) scandal, exposed in 2015, revealed that Coca-Cola had secretly provided millions of dollars in funding to the organization. The GEBN's core message was that the public was too focused on diet and sugar intake, and that the true solution to obesity lay in physical activity, the concept of energy balance. This was a highly effective form of influence. By funding GEBN, Coca-Cola was able to leverage the credibility of respected scientists to promote a message that directly protected its core product. The lie was not a direct falsehood, but a strategic omission, a deliberate effort to shift the focus away from the role of sugary drinks. The subsequent exposure by the New York Times and the public outcry forced the company to disband GEBN and publish a list of its funded research. This act of forced transparency, while a step forward, revealed the extent of the company's influence. The GEBN case serves as a powerful example of the complex ethical tightrope corporations walk when funding scientific research. The GEBN scandal was not an isolated incident. It was part of a broader, decades-long strategy to fund hundreds of studies that often concluded that the obesity crisis resulted from physical inactivity rather than diet. While industry funding can advance science, the GEBN scandal demonstrated a clear intent to manipulate the public health narrative. The company's subsequent act of forced transparency, while a step forward, revealed the extent of this influence, confirming the suspicion that Coca-Cola was more interested in protecting its product than in promoting unbiased public health science. This strategy of manufacturing doubt remains a significant barrier to effective public health policy globally. The sheer volume of water required for Coca-Cola's global operations, often 3 to 4 liters of water for every 1 liter of finished product, places the company in direct conflict with communities in water-stressed regions. The water lie is the claim of responsible stewardship in the face of local depletion. The company's own reporting has recently shown a water use ratio of about 1.78 liters of water per liter of beverage, a number that has improved over the years, yet still represents a massive draw on local resources in vulnerable areas. This improvement in efficiency, while commendable, does not negate the severe local impacts. The infamous case in Plachimada, Kerala, India, serves as the starkest illustration of this conflict. For years, residents accused the local bottling plant of over-extracting groundwater, leading to the drying up of local wells and severe drought for farmers. The controversy was compounded by allegations that the plant distributed toxic sludge containing heavy metals like cadmium and lead to farmers as fertilizer, contaminating the remaining water supply. The decade-long protest and the eventual closure of the plant underscore the devastating local impact of global corporate operations. However, in response to this and other global criticisms, Coca-Cola launched its ambitious water replenishment program. The company claims that since 2015, it has achieved 100% replenishment of the water used in its finished beverages globally. This is achieved through community water projects, watershed protection, and rainwater harvesting. The company points to these efforts, such as the RAIN, Replenish Africa Initiative program, as evidence of its commitment to being a responsible water steward. The nuance lies in the gap between the global metric and the local reality. Critics argue that replenishing water in one watershed does not compensate for the depletion of groundwater in another, particularly in areas where the local water table is non-renewable. This is the core of the water neutrality debate. The company's global claim is a powerful public relations tool, but it fails to address the specific, localized ecological damage caused by over-extraction in a single water-stressed community. While the company's investment in water projects is significant and has improved its standing with some NGOs, the Plachimada case remains a powerful symbol of the tension between corporate water consumption and the fundamental human right to local water access, a tension that continues to fuel protests globally. Coca-Cola's role in the plastic crisis is undeniable. The company has been named the world's #1 plastic polluter for 6 consecutive years. Recent reports indicate that the company used nearly 8 billion pounds of plastic in 2024, a staggering figure that directly contributes to the global plastic waste crisis, a fact that stands in sharp contrast to the company's public image. To put this in perspective, this volume of plastic represents a massive, continuous flow of material that overwhelms municipal waste systems and pollutes oceans and landscapes, despite the company's public commitments. The company's response is the World Without Waste campaign, a commitment to make its packaging 100% recyclable and to collect and recycle the equivalent of every bottle it sells by 2030. This is the plastic lie, or rather, the greenwashing paradox. On one hand, the The company is investing in rPET, recycled PET, aiming to increase the recycled content in its bottles, and is funding collection infrastructure globally. They argue that plastic pollution is a systemic issue that requires collaboration between industry, government, and consumers, and that their goals are ambitious and necessary. On the other hand, critics point out that the company's reliance on virgin plastic continues to grow, and that the global recycling infrastructure is nowhere near capable of handling the volume of waste produced. Lawsuits, including a major one filed by Los Angeles County in October 2024, and another by the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands in April 2025, allege that the company has systematically misled the public about the true recyclability of its products. Furthermore, a California lawsuit brought by environmental groups was cleared to proceed in May 2025. The nuance here is that while Coca-Cola's stated goals are positive, the sheer scale of its production volume and the increasing legal challenges render its current efforts insufficient. The company is simultaneously a leader in recycling efforts and the single largest contributor to the problem, a contradiction that defines the modern environmental debate. The increasing number of lawsuits, including those from governmental bodies like Los Angeles County and the U.S. Virgin Islands, suggests that the legal and regulatory environment is finally catching up to the scale of the plastic lie, forcing the company to move beyond voluntary commitments to legally binding accountability. The most serious and disturbing allegations against the Coca-Cola system concern human rights and labor practices, particularly in its independent bottling plants. The international Killer Coke campaign focused heavily on the allegations in Colombia, where the union Sinaltrinal accused bottling plant managers of hiring paramilitary groups to intimidate, torture, and murder union leaders. The murder of union leader Isidro Gil in 1996 became a tragic symbol of this conflict. The company's defense has been complex. They have consistently denied any direct involvement in or responsibility for the violence, arguing that the murders and intimidation were part of the broader, violent civil conflict in Colombia and not actions directed by the company. Crucially, the Coca-Cola Company was never found legally liable in U.S. courts for these specific allegations, often due to jurisdictional issues. In response to these and other allegations, the company has implemented a comprehensive human rights policy and supplier guiding principles, backed by thousands of third-party audits conducted annually across its supply chain. They have also committed to greater transparency, conducting studies on child labor and land rights in their sugar supply chain. The nuance is critical. The legal dismissal does not negate the devastating human cost and the documented violence against union workers. The controversy highlights the inherent difficulty for a multinational corporation to ensure ethical conduct across a vast network of independent bottlers and suppliers, especially in politically volatile regions. The company's response, while including audits and policies, is often criticized for being reactive rather than proactive, focusing on compliance rather than genuine cultural change across its decentralized system. The human rights lie is the failure of the corporate system to fully protect the lives and rights of the workers who are essential to its global success, regardless of legal liability. A failure that persists despite years of public scrutiny. In the 21st century, the battle for the narrative has moved to the digital front. Coca-Cola now uses cutting-edge technology, such as artificial intelligence, AI, to create advertisements that maintain its image of authentic human connection. This is the modern lie. The use of impersonal, algorithmic technology to create a hyper-realistic, yet entirely synthetic emotional connection. This strategy has recently met with significant public resistance. The company faced widespread backlash for its AI-generated Christmas advertisements in both 2024 and 2025, with critics describing the visuals as soulless, uncanny, and devoid of human emotion. This controversy highlights the tension between the brand's core message of authentic connection and its use of cost-cutting synthetic technology. The use of AI in its most visible campaigns suggests a new layer to the corporate lie, that genuine human creativity and emotion can be algorithmically replicated and mass-produced, further cheapening the very values the brand claims to represent. This shift from human-centric marketing to AI-driven content is a microcosm of the larger corporate trend towards efficiency over authenticity. Furthermore, the company's recent public relations failures, such as the backlash against the anti-boycott ad in Bangladesh in June 2024, demonstrate that the public is increasingly sophisticated in spotting corporate manipulation. The ad, which attempted to distance the brand from a political conflict, was widely seen as clumsy and dishonest, leading to its removal and a public apology. The speed of social media allows local controversies to instantly become global crises, forcing the company to respond faster and with greater transparency than ever before. This pressure has led to genuine, albeit often insufficient, changes. The company's commitment to publishing its funded research, its ambitious, if criticized, sustainability goals, and its increased focus on supply chain audits are all direct results of public and regulatory pressure. The modern challenge for Coca-Cola is not just to manage its image, but to manage the expectation of accountability in a world where every action is instantly scrutinized. Uncovering details like this takes hundreds of hours of research, analysis, and production. We are a small team, and we don't have corporate sponsors. Our only backing comes from viewers like you. If you find this work valuable, the single best way to support our mission is to subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing, but it allows us to continue creating documentaries that matter. We appreciate your support. And the story is far from over. The story of Coca-Cola is not a simple morality tale of good versus evil. It is a profound case study in the paradox of global corporate power. Coca-Cola is a company that has created millions of jobs, provided significant economic stability in developing nations, and built a brand that genuinely connects people across cultures. Simultaneously, it has engaged in questionable scientific funding, contributed massively to environmental crises, and faced serious allegations of human rights abuses in its supply chain. The enduring power of the Coca-Cola narrative is its ability to hold these contradictions in perpetual tension. The company's success is a testament to its marketing genius, which has consistently prioritized the emotional narrative over the complex reality. The final question is not for the corporation, but for the consumer and the global community. How do we hold a global power accountable for its complex, contradictory impact? Can we demand that the company that sells the world happiness also takes full responsibility for the consequences of its global footprint? The choice to look beyond the red and white, to acknowledge the full, nuanced truth, is the first step toward demanding a more ethical future. If you liked this video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel to grow and make more videos like this. Thank you, and until next time.